To One Stop News. I'm Michael Rummel, and just a brief segue before I start. I'm changing this channel's format to just kind of one news story, multiple times a week, so I can go in depth on a certain topic. So today's is going to be the nerve gas or suspected nerve gas attack in the town of Khan Shaykhun in Syria, and why I think that it is entirely plausible that Bashar al-Assad and the Syrian government would have used sarin gas in an attack on this town. So without further ado, let's begin. Now, the attack itself was reported to have been from aircraft, and they attacked the town of Khan Shaykhun, which is held by the al-Qaeda linked group al-Nusra. Recent reports have put the death count at about 86, but it's likely that number is higher because it hasn't accounted for the amount of people being treated in Turkish hospitals. The symptoms they were presenting with were almost identical to the ones in 2013 when the nerve gas attack by the Assad regime 4 years ago killed over 1,000 people. So very identical symptoms. Doctors on the ground say this is identical to what sarin gas does to humans. There's a lot of frothing at the mouth, contracted pupils, basically eyes that are just staring at nothing, and a few other things. I will not put any of those pictures or videos up right now as they are quite disturbing, but there are plenty of them if you do want to see the results of this sarin gas attack. Now, there's been a lot of questions as to if the sarin attack was real or if it was a, quote, false flag. This has come from areas on the right and on the left as well, with recently Representative Tulsi Gabbard, a Democrat, claimed that she was skeptical of whether the Assad regime did it. Now, this is surprising to me in many ways because this is not out of character at all for the Assad regime. Even back 2 months ago, they were using, sorry, not 2 months ago, 4 months ago, they were using chlorine gas in Aleppo to clear out areas before they moved in with their military. So they've still been using chlorine gas for the past 4 years, even after they destroyed, well, they said they destroyed, under supervision of Russia, their sarin gas supply in 2013 after worldwide condemnation for the attack. So theoretically they're not supposed to have sarin gas, but they have used chlorine gas recently, which means that they are willing to gas their own civilians. They have no problem with doing that. But to go back to the sarin gas point, because this is what these are going to be the reasons why I believe that the sarin gas attack was not a false flag at all, and he did indeed gas his own population. First of all, it is more than likely that he does still have sarin gas. UN experts and the intelligence communities of most of the Western world do believe that the destruction of the sarin gas supply of the Assad government was not their entire supply, and that they still have a lot of it left. How much is unknown, and it's difficult to get through that barrier of both the Russian government and the Syrian government. So it's more than likely that they still have the gas, which is the first key. They've got it, and they're willing to use some sort of gas. Now, the second factor comes in where they are still struggling to win the war. The Assad regime is still hanging on by a thread. They've maintained power for 5 years at this point, but over 400,000 are estimated dead, including over 100,000 government soldiers. Their army is severely depleted. They're really only alive at this point because of Russian support to the Assad military. Russia conducts a lot of the bombing, gives them a lot of military aid, and basically is the only thing propping up the Assad regime from immediate collapse. So they're hanging on by a thread, and they're willing to use any tactics necessary, as shown by the chlorine gas attacks and now this sarin gas attack, to reclaim towns or cities or just any area they deem necessary for military expansion back to their previous state. And third, and I think what is the icing on top of the cake, I think those two factors really seal it for me. But the third factor is also important, and this is what puts me over the top, and I'd say I'm honestly 100% confident that it was used, is the relationship Trump was talking about having with the Assad regime. Even a few weeks ago, President Trump was looking to basically only focus on ISIS in the region and said that Assad was worthy to be kept in power. And I believe that Assad thought, okay, so they're no longer focusing on what I'm doing. They want to take care of ISIS, and they've ignored the fact that I've used chlorine gas and even sarin gas in the past. They've gotten over that, so I can just go ahead and do what I need to win this war, because now clearly I am still the end leader of this conflict. So that probably changed the calculus in his mind to basically say, why not? Russia is going to keep supporting them no matter what, and with whether or not the Trump and Putin ties are true, it does look like Russia and the United States may cooperate a lot more. So it seems to reason that before Trump's flip-flop on this, which was a good one, I don't mean flip-flop in a bad way. He said that seeing the pictures of the children affected by the sarin gas attack has really changed his mind on a few things related to Syria. But before this flip-flop, it seemed like every possibility of Trump within the Syrian conflict was that he would be aligning with Russia and what Assad wanted, which would be to focus on taking out the terrorists rather than trying to implement regime change, which is what the Obama administration and a lot of the Western world wanted. He made the Tomahawk missile strike, which is probably what's brought a lot of the false flag claims, because people, especially on the left, are now viewing it as similar to the Bush Iraqi situation in 2003. But I think it's worth reminding that, especially with the WMD situation, it's not like Saddam Hussein didn't have major weapons of mass destruction in the past. He gassed thousands of people in Kurdistan. He gassed thousands of his own civilians, so that wasn't out of character. And this is even more surefire. We have videos of this. We know they have it. All the symptoms match up with sarin gas. He has every reason to use it and very few to not use it. He basically took a town and lost 6 airplanes and a few soldiers for it at the end of the day. So he may still view it as worth it. He's already internationally condemned. He's not going to be, winning a Nobel Peace Prize anytime soon, and he's not. He quite frankly doesn't seem to care what the international community condemns, because they're not really doing anything. It remains to be seen what is going to be done after this Tomahawk airstrike, but I do think that anyone saying that he would not do this and that is a false flag is quite frankly wrong, because all of the evidence really does line up into the corner that he would do it. So thanks for watching. I hope you, enjoyed it as much as you could, because this is certainly a depressing topic. But I will be uploading Tuesday on the whole Bannon issue, and I'll try to cover a lot of the sides of it, because it's very confusing, and it's something that is an extremely interesting development in the Trump White House, and it could mean a lot going forward. So hopefully this, again, change in format is good, and I guess I'll see you Tuesday.